Hello, everybody. Sage here. I wanted to do a video, a reading on Chris Watts, and I just kind of keep thinking to myself, it's like what we all know, on the face value of it, why, superficially why he did what he did regarding, the horrible things that he had done. But I just kind of wanted to delve into it a little bit more. Uh, and I have done, I've touched on him a little bit, on a reading before. But I just I want to refresh the reading. I want to see what comes up. So I did shuffle before I started this video. I'll do a couple more shuffles. I want to remind everybody about the contest, the free reading contest. Go into the free reading video. You'll find it in my list, and choose a number between 1 and 500 that someone else has not already chosen. And you have to be a subscriber. You can't just, this is only for subscribers. So anyway, let's get to this. Of course, I have to say all alleged, my opinion, not facts. Chris Watts. I'm using the Bluebird Lenormand deck. Okay. Okay, I want to show that this is just a affirmation that this is a reading about Chris Watts. So I want to point out something. So you probably can't see it, but there's a child here. Child. Next to the mice and the scythe. So, and behind the children is the fox, a deceiver. So this is the children deceived and ended quickly. So above this, we also have in the mix here in this one line is the coffin, which is an affirmation. Next to the coffin is the tree, which is stating that, it's a person that's crossed over. I'm trying not to get, YouTube mad at me here. So anyway, and And then we're going to find the gentleman card, which is here. And he's looking at the sun. He was burned by the sun. Across from him is the book, which is hidden information he's holding on to. And underneath him are dreams that are shattered dreams. And this is definitely Chris Watts. I also want to point out, so here's the lady, which I feel like this is NK. The lady is here, and above the lady is the bear, which is, in this case, someone that has, like, can exert power over others. Above the bear is the tower, which in this case could be like the prison, and the house. So house in a prison, in relation to a woman that has power, that can exert power over others. It's a gift, that it's something that she's very much honed over the years. So this is definitely a CW reading. So also I want to point out the ring, which is commitment, clouds, which is doubt. The next card over is the birch rod, which is despair and beating oneself up, and that has a lot to do with the marriage between Chris Watts and Shanann, and him really wishing he could go back in time and redo what happened. Yeah, beating himself up over his past commitment. So anyway, let's move on here. So like the previous readings that I've done, I kind of touched on, his mother, his interactions. And I don't like to do readings on the parents, but I just touched on it a little bit, his mom and all that, and his relationship and whatnot. But there's definitely something in common with the women in his life, and they are, well, Chris's mom is someone that likes to take control. I'll put it that way, right? And Shanann, she was very much an alpha female. She liked things done a certain way, and smart and motivated, and so far these two women have told him, what to do. I mean, he's kind of like an empty robot. He needed always someone to tell him what to do. And then, of course, there's Nicole, who also told him what to do. So I kind of want to get back to something here. Like, as he's growing up, there's like this void that it's like he's always known he's different. There's like this emptiness inside of him, right? And he doesn't really know how to blend in with people. It was very difficult. He didn't know how to react to things. The guy just was socially awkward, and he didn't have very many friends. And by doing what he's told, it was kind of a safe haven for him, because he knows as what he's being told to do is something that's okay to do, right? I don't know if that makes sense or not, but and if he were to not have someone telling him what to do. His social awkwardness would end up being like, it would spotlight that, and it would show his ineptness at that. And he's very prideful. You know, he loved the rumor that he had a photographic memory, and maybe that's true in some instances. But the guy wasn't very smart. He really wasn't very smart. He was more of a like a robot. He just did what he was told. He It all depended on how it made him inside feel and look to others, right? It had no empathy towards others whatsoever. But he knew that other people, he had seen other people having empathy. And he's like, why don't I have that? He always knew he was different, guys. He always knew. No inner voice. Some people don't have an inner voice, but his inner voice had more to do with there was always a certain darkness in him. There was always a certain darkness in him. Yeah. Ugh. Couldn't relate to others. There was, he definitely couldn't relate to others. He really doesn't know what love is, you guys. Love to him is how the other person makes him feel, right? And if it makes him feel good, that's love to him. He doesn't know what love is, you guys. He has no idea. Yeah, he was definitely very awkward growing up. So he relied a lot on his family to help, teach him how to blend in. And that was like his safe spot there at his family's house, as he was growing up. And that's why he didn't really go out and do a whole lot of things make friends and go to parties or any of that. Is because that was his safe place. He knew that he knew how to act with this family. It was a comfortable space for him. So any emotion, the only emotions that he's felt was only for in direct relation to himself. And we've established zero empathy. Tried to mask it. He did try to mimic it, but you guys, you gotta look at some of his videos and pictures. And something that's always struck me as odd with him is that his smile never really reached his eyes. He could mimic it sometimes, but it never really reached his eyes. His eyes are really scary to me. They're very scary. Definitely, I think NK saw him coming a mile away, saw that he was someone in her eyes was perfect for her. Easy manipulation. He did what he was told. When they were working together, they've established that type of a relationship. She'd tell him, I can kind of see this banter back and forth of her telling him stuff, relaying information to him. And she could tell that he was an easy target for her, and even before that, they've definitely, you guys, they have definitely were together way before they said that they were, in my opinion. Oh yeah. So, NK, up to a certain point, she had, she had other marionettes that she was playing with, right? There was some guy that she was with that she was going back and forth, and do I want to stay with him? Do I not want to stay with him? She was also messing around. She cannot stay faithful. So there was always, the grass was always greener on the other side for her. So it really wasn't. I mean, they interacted and stuff before Anadarko. And then it was when during Anadarko, they messed around and stuff. And then Anadarko was where things really started. She's starting to say to herself, "Wow, this guy, easy target, has a good job, wanted what Shanann wanted." I mean, we've established that before in a different reading, so this is just a reiteration. So, it's kind of also his emotions, which are in direct relation to just him, right? I had it. Okay, it reminds me. I gotta say this. So I had someone tell me at one point, and it kind of gave me chills. And it didn't have anything to do with CW, but we're having this deep discussion about heaven and hell and whatever else. And so this person had told me something to the effect of, the 7 deadly sins. And they were saying to me, the 7 deadly sins, the more sins that are directed toward a certain goal, the more evil it is, right? And I was thinking about it, and I got to tell you guys. So, what are the 7 deadly sins, right? Lust, gluttony, greed, sloth. Lust, gluttony, greed, sloth, wrath, envy, pride, right? Correct me if I'm wrong. So, okay, this makes sense, right? So, lust, okay. I mean, that's easy. That's an easy one to fulfill. That's one deadly sin, right? Gluttony, I'm sure we can find some correlation somewhere. You guys can probably help me with that. I can't think of anything off the top of my head, but all my subscribers are so flippin' smart. You guys can probably find something in there. Greed. Greed was definitely one of his motivations because he, it was about money, selling the house, having all the money to himself, not having to pay alimony or child support, right? That's greed. Sloth. Okay, if it were not for Shanann, this guy would be nothing. He was lazy. He had no motivation to do anything. Nothing. The guy was lazy. So there's one. Being lazy and Shanann made him motivated, made him have goals with her. So this was another reason why he could get out from underneath that, right? So sloth, that was sloth. Wrath, oh, he was inside. After he, in his mind, had replaced Shanann with NK, his anger grew. And I got to tell you guys, there's also indications that throughout their marriage, there was some darkness within him that allowed him to see things that he wanted to do, right? Okay. I mean, there was some influences from NK. We've already discussed that in whatnot, but it was an easy target. because of he's already swimming in some darkness, right? Envy, that's another 7 deadly sin. You guys, he did not want Shanann to be happy. Okay, he knew that she loved those girls, and and this brings up the next one, envy. He was jealous. He was so jealous of how Shanann could love so freely and easily the girls. Right? He was envious. He was envious of that. He was envious of the girls. He did not want Shanann to continue that relationship, you guys. So if he would have just gone up and, did what he should have done, is, divorce her and whatnot, she would have continued that relationship with the girls, and he knew that he couldn't continue that relationship. He did not want Shanann to have that, because he knew that he sucked at it, you guys. He followed Shanann's lead with everything with the girls, because he just didn't have it in him. He didn't have it in him. So there's that one. And pride, right? So with pride, let's see here. Pride was wanting to keep the same social status, money-wise. He knew, that goes along with greed too, I know, but to me it kind of makes sense, because if the wife up and left him, like he wanted people to think, right? He wanted people to think that she just up and left with the kids, and he had nothing to do with it. He had nothing to say about it. It's not his fault that he can't be with his girls, because Shanann took the kids away, right? That had a lot to do with how he didn't want people to view him as a failure as a father. So that's pride. Oh my God. So, you guys, so out of all 7 of the 7 deadly sins, this guy committed, okay, what I say, lust, greed, sloth, wrath, envy, and pride. 6. So gluttony, I'm sure that, like I said, one of my brilliant subscribers could come up with another, but I mean, if you think about it, out of all of the 7 deadly sins, he committed as a motivation for himself 6 of them. There were 6 of the 7 deadly sins. Ugh, yuck. And you cannot tell me that, this didn't allow for dark evil to make this stain of the horribleness of what he did, and in my opinion, what NK did, and possibly others, So, like the atrocities, I really don't believe that this is ever going to go away. This will never go away. I'm going to show you why. So there is CW. There's a mountain, which is huge, a large amount, a long time. The coffin, which is the unaliving, right? Well, this will never go away. And in fact, above the mountain is the stars. So this is actually an indication that even this is something that people will remember for a long time. Long time. The atrocities that had happened. And I got to tell you too, I do believe, like in the breakthroughs in criminal forensics and whatnot, I do believe that there's probably going to be something that'll come up that will definitely ensure a clarification, because You guys, with this type of a dark, evil stain, at this point in time, at this point in time, there are so many theories and so many opinions that no matter what, like, even if he were to admit and tell the story of exactly what happened, and just told everybody everything, there would still be people out there that wouldn't believe it. Well, he has proven himself a liar, so I don't blame him, but it would never be enough. It will never be good enough. Ever, 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 ever. And, there's, this will never go away. Definitely, such a black, dark, evil stain. It's horrible. And it's also, this is a ripple that extends, not just, the families involved, you guys, but the ripple extends, to the house that things happened in, the Chris Watts and Shanann's house, Survey 319, where he had taken them, and every person that's ever heard of this case, it affects everybody. And this is why. It's because it is it's like a void, a black void. It's so evil and awful that there are not too many people that will ever understand it. And the ones that do understand it are the ones that have a black void in themselves. And that's kind of scary, I know, but that's the truth. And that's the reason why, for everybody trying to wrap their mind around it, is because it is so purely evil. And I gotta tell you, I feel like we're all, even without going to church and whatnot, I feel like it's all innate in us to kind of follow some moral codes, right? And I believe in the 7 deadly sins. I really, really do. I believe in that. You don't have to, but I do. And he committed this act because of, well, probably all 7, but right now, to me, all like 6 of the 7 deadly sins. You guys, that is so bad. That is so bad. So, in my opinion, I think Chris Watts and Nicole Kessinger are doomed. If you really want to know, I think they're doomed. Because, like, according to belief, the 7 deadly sins tend to be those which lead to an afterlife in hell. Now, I gotta tell you, do you spend eternity in hell? Someone tell me that. If there is a hell and someone goes there, do you spend an eternity in hell? I have different opinions on hell and whatnot, and I'm not going to bore you with those details now, but I do think that there's karma, and I would not want to be those 2 people in the next life. You guys. So it's kind of like in his next life. I hope he comes back as a slug, and someone pours salt on him. And NK, hope she comes back as an amoebic vaginitis. So, and I don't know. I just feel that regardless of the facts coming out, like I said before. It will never be good enough, you guys. The answers will never be good enough, I don't feel. Because of that, because of it being so dark and evil. So purely dark and evil. So bad. So, so bad. And, from what I understand, Chris Watts is, what is he? He wrote a book, a religious book, and he's doing, is he preaching in prison? I don't know. I've heard something about that. And I'm sure the guy is scared, I'm sure he's scared. You take the life of an innocent? Oh, guys, I don't know. That is something so bad. Can a soul come back from that after doing that? It's baffling to me. It's baffling how someone can be so evil. And I personally, I believe NK, since she showed up in the spread, I believe that she definitely had something to do with this as well. So I'm lumping the two in together with this. When I say CW, I also mean her. Okay, you guys. They are the two main characters in this atrocity. So, all right, everybody. This was an interesting read. I probably was a little bit all over the place, but when I do a Chris Watts reading, it's very dark. It's and Nicole Kessinger, but really, truly, with Chris, it's very dark. And like when I do my readings, it opens up. It's like a doorway. It kind of opens up my third eye. I've told you guys this before. And when I do the Chris Watts readings, those anti-sensory tanks that people go into, that's just pitch black, you hear nothing, takes away all your senses. That is what I feel in my mind's eye with him. It's just a dark, evil void. And when I do an NK reading, don't laugh, but what I see in my mind's eye when I see her in my mind's eye, it's like this nasty, dirty, little, evil, ghoulish troll in my mind's eye. So both of them are disgusting people, in my opinion. All right, everybody. Well, thanks you for listening, and I hope everybody has a great day. And hit like and subscribe, if you vibe with this. And I will talk to you guys later.